Now, many of you in this room have championed the digital transformation of our economy and our governments. This has created incredible efficiency and value within society, but it's also expanded the attack surface. It's added a lot of complexity, and it's also made us more susceptible to exploit. You see, we're no longer just securing servers in a data center or laptops in an office. Today's modern attack surface is far, far more complex. It's a sprawling ecosystem of traditional IT, public and private cloud resources, the Internet of Things, and of course, operational technology, which are the industrial control systems that power our critical infrastructure, like American Water. And it's also that persistent threat of shadow IT, which can include cloud resources and services and applications that are downloaded, often without knowledge or approval. And this creates risks that are completely invisible to the security team. So yes, our growing digital footprint is contributing to a heightened threat environment. But what really keeps me up at night is the convergence of that with the widespread weaponization of artificial intelligence by threat actors. And that's the second force powering the storm. You see, AI has fundamentally changed the economics of cybercrime. Adversaries are now using LLMs to craft flawless, hyper-realistic phishing emails tailored to specific roles and interests of high-value government targets. And these emails bypass both human suspicion and traditional email filters. They also use deepfake technology to clone executive voices and faces so they can authorize fraudulent wire transfers. And this makes socially engineered attacks really difficult to spot. And simultaneously, flaws inherent in AI, like prompt injection, have introduced a whole new class of vulnerabilities that have currently gone unsolved. So furthermore, these sophisticated tools have been packaged as malware as a service on the dark web. And this has, in essence, has democratized the threat. And this has given even novice hackers the ability to leverage existing scripts and launch attacks and exfiltrate data at unprecedented scale. And this new reality is defined by one word here, and that's really speed. For example, AI-powered tools originally developed to help defenders protect networks and cloud resources are now used by adversaries to automate exploitation. You see these agentic-led attacks, and they often include like pen testing tools. You can leverage 150 pen testing tools at one time using agentic AI. It has retry logic, so it's constantly pinging the network, for example, to identify new vulnerabilities, 0 days. And once they do, the mean time from vulnerability to discovery to exploitation is now down to minutes. You see, InfoSec teams used to have this window, like of months or even weeks to deploy patches, but now it's getting exploited almost simultaneously. And this secular shift has industrialized cybercrime. Over the years, threat actors have shifted their focus from data security to systematic attacks on our critical infrastructure, such as hospitals, schools, and governments, where we are most vulnerable. And this is amplified by geopolitical adversaries who are aligning against us. Some call this an alignment of convenience. China continues its campaign of persistent large-scale data exfiltration and data collection, not for financial gain, but for long-term strategic advantage and influence. Think Salt Typhoon. And Russia weaponizes AI for destabilization, and they use it to attack our allies and threaten our democratic process. And there's even nation states like North Korea and Iran that are actively trading capabilities with both of them, and they're leveraging AI to achieve unprecedented scale, speed, and sophistication in a way that they could never do before. This brings us to the evolution of the threat. Years ago, we saw opportunistic attacks on retailers to steal credit card data. Annoying, but not catastrophic. Now AI threatens the very foundation of our society, and our policies, quite frankly, have not kept pace. We're not leveraging the innovation and the intelligence of the private sector like we should be. And we're fighting a 21st century AI-powered threat with a 20th century bureaucracy. So what do we do and how do we fight back? Well, of course, good cyber hygiene is still important. Using MFA, multi-factor authentication, patching known vulnerabilities, limiting access controls across the organization, that's important and that's table stakes. But we have to be honest with ourselves. Even if we are doing all those things, and many are not, by the way, that's not good enough. And we're at a moment here that requires a fundamental paradigm shift in the way we think about security and the way we approach risk here. And for the last 2 decades, the security industry has been built around detection and response, detecting breaches and responding to those threats. Over the years, we've armed our security teams with dozens and dozens, sometimes, depending on the size of the organization, hundreds of disparate tools. They each generate their own endless stream of alerts. We're asking security professionals today to define the proverbial needle in a haystack. And that haystack is the size of a mountain. And we're adding a new bale of hay each and every day. And our analysts, security analysts, are suffering from fragmented visibility, overwhelming alerts and noise, and lots of manual remediation. It's a problem. And what's contributing to this is that there's been a major dislocation of spend in cyber over the years. Research from Gartner suggests that 96% of all cybersecurity spend today is on detect and respond technologies. So consequently, just 4% is on preemptive security. And I want you to think about that. We're spending 96 cents of every dollar on firefighting and not fireproofing. And we have to shift our thinking here, right? And how we think about cyber and how we approach it in terms of resources and budget dollars. We have to do it now. The cybersecurity industry has coined the term exposure management to encompass this preventative approach. This isn't a new product category, it's a paradigm shift. It means moving beyond simply providing an endless list of vulnerabilities, and instead building a comprehensive, continuous map of your entire attack surface. So you know where every asset is located, whether it's on the network, in the cloud, or on your factory floor. But visibility, you see, is just the first step. Exposure management is also about applying intelligence and context. It means understanding not just a vulnerability exists, but a vulnerability exists on a critical asset, and that vulnerability has been actively exploited in the wild, and that asset sits on an attack path directly to your crown jewels. It's about using AI, not just to find flaws, but understand attack paths so we can look at our organization through the eyes of our adversaries. And my call to action for everyone in this room is really twofold today. First, within your own agencies and organizations, I urge you to champion the shift from firefighting to fireproofing. Challenge the status quo. Challenge how you're spending your time, your money, and your resources on security. There will be no shortage of vulnerabilities in this world. They will continue to grow. But what matters most is that we correlate those vulnerabilities with threats and access to preemptively understand attack paths and the ones that matter most to your business. We need to move from simply stopping breaches to understanding risk and actively reducing it in near real time and on an autonomous way, which AI now gives us the capability to do. Second, just as important, we need a new era of public-private partnership. The government can't solve this alone, and nor can the private sector. And as an example, by the way, the partnership, Tenable, welcomed the release of the White House AI Action Plan over the summer. In particular, we were pleased to see strong references to the importance of cybersecurity to ensure American AI leadership. Indeed, should I say, AI development and deployment depend on trust, and cybersecurity for AI systems and data is foundational to building that trust. This will also require streamlining procurement to get cutting-edge technology in the hands of federal defenders much faster. We need to do that. It means creating formal real-time frameworks for bidirectional threat intelligence and sharing. And it means investing in joint research and development to ensure we, not our adversaries, win the AI race. Look, the threat has evolved from opportunistic crime to industrialized AI-powered national security challenge, and our response must evolve with it. Along these lines, Tenable strongly encourages Congress to reauthorize increased funding for the SLC GP, state and local grant program, to ensure state, local, tribunal, and territory governments continue to have access to necessary resources and support to address the threats that present today. Sustained federal investment is essential to ensure we can continue building resilient systems and protecting the nation's critical cybersecurity infrastructure. More predictable funding, I'm sure a lot of us in the room would also agree, is essential to building sustainable cybersecurity capabilities. So let's make sure we are diligent and we fireproof our systems before we see the plumes of smoke. In the meantime, we can work on new ways to accelerate our nation's defenses together. Thank you for your time today, and I look forward to spending time with the rest of you.